Hello, Allotment Diary Live. So just see if I can get the chat up. Here we go. So we've got one person who's just joined me. Hello and welcome. Hi Sue, thanks for joining me this evening. So today we're going to be talking about no dig. So firstly, I'd like to welcome you all here this evening, and I'd like to say hello to the people as you join. So we've got a few people joining the chat now. That's good. Hello. Hello Eleanor, good evening to you. How is the weather with you this evening, Eleanor? Hello Sam from Sam's Allotment Diary. How is Leicester this evening? You've got wintry weather, about -2 degrees. Have you got snow, Eleanor? Hi Jazz, alternative small holding. Okay, yeah, I'll do that for you. Hello Robert, Kilted Gardener. How's Virginia today? Sam says it's been chilly, but a lovely sunny day. Yeah, it's been sunny here up in North Wales today, but I've been in work all day, so unfortunately I've not been able to get out in it. Eleanor, you've got about 1 metre of snow. Robert says it's about 50 degrees. Oh, that's quite warm. Yeah, that is a lot. Hello Ashley, thanks for joining us this evening. Welcome. What's it like with you, Jazz? Have you had a day outside today, or have you been inside? It's been a glorious day with Jazz. Even the chickens were sunbathing. Marie Curie, good evening to you. How are you? Afternoon, I suppose, in your part of the world. Afternoon to you. Thank you, Sam. Thanks very much for sharing the live on Facebook for me. Thank you. That's very good. Joyce, hello Joyce, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Jazz spent most of today indoors potting on tomatoes. How many tomato plants have you got growing so far, Jazz? Bet you've got lots, because I know you've got plenty of seeds. Going to talk about no dig this evening. So once a few more are here, we'll start the chat on no dig. It's been a funny week this week. Not as wet as it has been in my part of the world. It's been sort of quite on and off, bit of sun this week. Sam says no dig is the best way in his opinion, not no dog. I prefer dogs. Right. So we'll start talking about no dig. We've got 10 people in the chat now. So Sam likes bulldogs. So what we're going to talk about is who first of all prefers to dig their ground, whether that's garden, allotments, sort of small holding. Who prefers to actually do dig, or who prefers and who has tried no dig? I guess I would like to ask. How many of you have tried no dig? Jazz has about 400 plus tomato seedlings, but you need that to narrow them down to the ones to grow and those for sale. So Jazz is going to sell some of the tomato plants. Joyce has tried both dig and no dig, but prefers no dig. And Joyce, can I ask you what you prefer about no dig? Robert has hard clay. He digs and eventually wants to make his raised terraces no dig. Jazz likes the physical activity of digging, but for growing you recognise that dig is better for us. Sam dug his beds this winter, but normally no dig, had to dig it as hadn't been dug in years. Eleanor is mulching everything on the top of the soil, heavy clay. I think heavy clay is a difficult one because you need to incorporate some organic matter into that soil in the first place. And although the worms will do that for you, it is difficult to sort of start off no dig. Sam, he's dug his beds this winter, hadn't been dug in years. Eleanor is mulching everything on top of the soil. Joyce, less hard work, less weeds, that's the benefit, yeah. Hello Brian from Allotment Life. Welcome to you this evening. Ashley hasn't, but has been watching Charles Dowding and is interested to hear what people think about no dig. Sue has only just started growing last year and grows in her back garden. No dig in pallet collars. So you do no dig in pallet collars. So those are those things that you can stack up on top of one another and make a sort of like a higher bed. Robert has been adding cocoa peat and compost to incorporate organic matter into his clay soil. Hello Shaz from the Kingston 8. You made it back from the shops in time for this live chat. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, Brian is saying the amount of weeds you get is dependent on how weedy your neighbouring plots are. So I guess if there are lots of your neighbours have got weeds that are self-seeding, then they can blow over onto your plot. Is that what you're suggesting, Brian? Sam likes to keep his beds lightly hoed, so that is that considered no dig? Sort of, I guess, yeah. Hello, Bogman. Welcome this evening. Yeah. So yes, I guess weeds is one of the issues that no dig is supposed to help with. Really, that if you've got a sort of a bed that's not got too many perennial weeds but's got lots of other weeds, you can just quite easily dig them out. I think that's one of the things I found with a couple of my no dig beds, that you're able to dig out the weeds. When I say dig out, just sort of like with a hand fork, lightly any weeds. Terry King, hello, welcome this evening. I've just got, the dog has just arrived. She's just come into the room, so she should come to see what I'm doing. Oh, she's gone again. She wants to go back out. Sorry, I couldn't show you the dog because she wasn't interested in staying. Terry, so welcome Terry, and Alan's just joined as the Dawn Chorus plot. Good evening to you, Alan. Jazz always removes perennial weeds where possible by hand before planting. That's definitely one thing you need to do. Dean's back garden veg plot. Welcome, Dean. Thank you for coming along this evening. So what do people think are the main benefits of no dig if you've tried it? Because that will be useful for people that that sort of haven't tried no dig before, because that'd be useful, I guess, for those that want to give it a try and haven't given it a go. What do you think are the benefits of no dig? I guess one of the ones I'm thinking about is if you find it difficult to dig because of your back, for example, it might help you. Brian says it's the only option you have left. Yeah, I guess, Brian, I've sort of wondered if your opinion on no dig in the past, you've always dug, if I remember that rightly. Would that be your option before you had this situation where you know you've your health situation? Yeah, Terry mentions the fact that so we don't destroy the soil structure. Yeah, that's definitely a one of the main reasons, I guess, for don't no dig, is that the soil should stay relatively well drained. Good evening, David. David Bellaby's joined us this evening. Welcome. Hello, William Coleman from Canada. He's just dropping in. He's in work. Of course, it's the middle of the day in Canada. Thank you, Willie, for joining us this afternoon. Terry doesn't like cutting worms in half. Yeah, I can sort of understand that one as well. Lynn Mornsel. Oh, it's early Saturday in Australia. What time of the morning? Is it at the middle of the night, or sort of relatively very early in Australia where you are? Worms are our buddies, says Jazz. Yeah, definitely. I have found that if you put manure on the soil and let it incorporate it in, the worms do definitely pull it down. Lynn says it's 7:15 a.m. in Australia where she is. Hello, Tony. Tony, UK, here we grow. Welcome. Thanks for coming along this evening. Yep. So we've got the benefits of the worms not destroying the structure. We've talked about a few of the benefits. I guess what are the drawbacks? What would you say are the drawbacks of no dig, if any? Right, Steve Digwell Greenfingers is here. Thank you for joining us this evening, Steve. Bogman, he's converted due to having heart attacks 20 odd years ago and found Warren, yes, of course, that's what your name is. Find continuous digging a problem. Brian reckons that it's sort of like you leave grubs below the ground. Are you thinking like sort of like wireworm and things like that, Brian? Steve reckons he's been doing no dig ever since he had his plot. Chris Rogers, welcome. Thank you for coming along. Jazz says sourcing material can be very expensive if you have a huge area like they do. Yes, that's definitely one of the issues I had with my beds. Welcome Mike from Mike's Hobbies. Thank you for coming along. So he's got low battery on his phone, so can't stay long. That's okay. Thank you, Mike, for coming along. So no dig. Joyce, no dig and raised beds are like having several mini gardens. Comes in handy for crop rotation. Alan says he had to buy farmyard manure to start with. Yeah, I guess that if you're on an allotment site, if you can get hold of some farmyard manure, it's definitely good. You can get that spread on the surface and let the worms incorporate that into the soil. It's best, in my view, if you can get that done sort of back end of the previous season, so sort of October, November time, maybe December, in the winter anyway, before you need it in the spring. And Brian has problems with vine weevil, and so does Terry. I've certainly had problems with vine weevil here with strawberries. They always seem to eat strawberry plant roots if they're in pots for me. Don't know if anybody else has had that issue. Tony says cow manure is superior. No dig in high raised bed needs more watering, says Joyce. Yeah. Alan reckons cow muck's best. I think you get less seed sort of in cow manure than in horse manure. Steve has about 200 square meters of cardboard and over a ton of spent mushroom compost lined up ready for his new plot. So Yeah, William's asking, is mushroom manure cheaper over here? It's alkaline, but does it make does make a good base? Um, yeah, I think you can get mushroom compost. I think they add lime to the compost in mushroom farms, and I think that's what makes it alkaline. I would think. I may be wrong, but I think that's probably what they do, and that's why. Tony says the reason cow manure is better is that they have four stomachs, so therefore I guess they digest the weed seeds better. Jazz has cow, goat, sheep, horse, chicken, rabbit, duck manure freely available, but you don't want to just use muck. Yeah, Tony says it is cow manure and lime that they use to make up for mushrooms. Eleanor builds hotbeds with horse manure. Afterwards, you mulch it on your beds. So you make, Eleanor, do you do the sort of hotbeds to so that you can extend your growing season because it's very cold where you are? Ray's here. Thank you, Ray. Thank you. Welcome for. Thank you for coming along this evening. Jazz says depends what the mushroom growers use as a substrate. It can be expensive to buy actual spent mushroom compost. Mike, being on a farm, he has access to cow, horse, chicken and pig manure combinations. Terry says there's a shortage of cocoa coir. Don't know where it all must be. Yeah, I think Terry's cornered the market on cocoa coir from in the Midlands area. Right. Steve says that it's £100 a tonne for a mixture of well-rotted horse manure, chicken manure and mushroom compost rich in nutrients. Thank you, Robert, the Kilted Gardener. That's no problem. We'll catch you again next time. Thank you for coming along. Yeah, I think, Terry, you'll have to give us all some tips on the best places to look for this spent cocoa coir that's dumped by the side of the road. You obviously have insider information with your job, but where would we, if we don't work for the council, where would we be able to pick up cocoa coir by the side of the road? Warren can get mushroom compost free every Monday when the tunnels change over the mushroom compost. Thank you, Jazz. Thank you for asking people to give me a thumbs up. Brilliant. Thank you. Sam tried hot horse manure, never again. He'll stick to grow organic. Mike says he's reached out to King's Seeds. Joyce is asking, do you have a pickup truck? The transport of manure is not possible in a smart car. It'd be a bit smelly, I would think, in a smart car. Yeah, Jazz is going to have to go on a drive to tour the area and see if she can find some cocoa coir compost. Right. So people that do no dig, I'd like to ask you how you prepare any beds that you do no dig. What's your method? What do you do first? Do you put cardboard down? Do you put compost down? Do you put manure down? What are people's preferred methods of preparing a no dig bed? Lynn says that mushroom compost retains moisture better. It's important when gardening on a drought. In a drought, yeah. So Jazz has a car that the back seats come out to make it in a van, to make it like a van, and she has a trailer too. Ashley's asking, does no dig help with drainage? Tony says he thinks there's no need for cardboard if the soil is already dug or no weeds. And Steve says that if he puts cardboard down, it stops the weeds coming up, then cover with compost or soil. So yeah, Jazz uses thin cardboard, then manure and compost. The last couple of beds I've prepared for no dig, I put sort of manure down first, then some cardboard, and then some normal compost. Terry, thank you for joining us this evening. Good night to you. Thank you for coming along and having joining in the chat. Alan uses cardboard first wet and then compost. Sue does cardboard, leaf mould, then compost, and at the end of summer gets well rotted horse manure, which you add at the end of the season. Steve reckons that the roots can go down through the wet cardboard, but the shoots don't go up through it. So it sort of helps to suppress the weeds. Sam couldn't get no dig with cardboard to work in his greenhouse. Yeah, I can sort of understand that a little bit, Sam, because you're not getting it watered so much, and it's not rotting down the cardboard quite so easily, I guess. It will eventually rot down, but I think it sort of needs to be weathered a bit, maybe. Tony, 90% of his gardens are no dog. You've got the same problem as Sam. Sam's got no dog either. David Bellaby, you can use straw in a raised bed as a layer. Warren, you've used cardboard, but you're going to try weed fabric and about 7 inches of compost manure mix. Frank Colbol's here. Thank you for joining us, Frank. Mike is making his first batch of leaf mould and will usually use wood chips or cardboard. The leaf mould that you made in winter is already done, Tony. That's rotted down well. Conversation Shed is here. Welcome. Thank you for joining the live chat. That is fast, Tony. Yeah, it is definitely. The card kept drying out regardless how much water you put on it. Yeah, I can sort of understand that because it gets so warm inside a greenhouse, I would think. Um, you, oh, Steve has problems with dogs that that aren't under control on his allotments. Okay, Brian, thank you for joining us. You rest. Thank you for coming along this evening. Tom Matthews, welcome. Thank you for joining the live chat. You're not going to do a leaf mould run on his, Sam's not going to do a leaf mould run on his push bike again. That's okay, Jazz. Welcome, come back whenever you can. Conversation shared is saying that regarding Steve's comment that bad owners, not bad dogs. Joyce, everything is what available at the moment: cardboard first, small branches, kitchen waste, normal soil, coffee grounds, compost. Yes, Mike was misunderstanding Sam, saying it was very dry. I think Sam was talking about in the greenhouse, not outside. It certainly hasn't been dry. Right, Conversation Shared is asking, what are people's plans for the weekend? A bit of spare money means it's got a massive list for tomorrow. Nigel is here, Muddy Boots. Welcome, Nigel. Thank you for joining us this evening. Glad you can come along. Yes, Sam has problems with dog waste when he pedals through it. Yeah, I can certainly understand that. People that don't pick it up, that is definitely a big problem. Ashley has shifted to 70-litre bags of compost on his mobility scooter. Wow, that's a lot. That must be quite heavy to move. Tom thinks there's going to be rain due, so maybe nothing. Amanda's allotment is here. Welcome, Amanda. How are you? Frank is in work from 11 till 8 tomorrow. The council banned all dogs until a year ago. You can guess what it's like now. Southpaw Davies here, Southpaw Davy Urban Farm. Welcome, Dave. Thanks for coming along. Conversation shared. As it stands, you're a dog owner and don't take her down to the allotment, but adding a 4-foot fence tomorrow so you'll be able to take her down. So you'll be able to keep your dog on your plot when you're there, which is good. Shaz is off to the garden centre to buy raspberry canes and gooseberry bushes. That should be nice. Where we are is here. Welcome. Thank you for coming along. Everybody's saying hello to each other. David's asking, how is the best way to use coffee grounds? I haven't used coffee grounds, so I'll have to leave that to those of you that have tried to use them. Nigel is asking, has anybody had any sowing failures so far this year? I'm just trying to think if I had any sowing failures. I haven't sown that much. I'm just starting to sow quite a bit in the next couple of weeks, so I've not really had much problem. Ashley's thinking of getting a trailer for his mobility scooter. Sam has Sight has 2 dogs. That went past too fast. Sorry, I can't get back to that. Steve is asking, is anyone trying no-dig potatoes this year, where you push the seed spuds in, cover it with straw, etc.? Tony's Zabrun didn't germinate a whole pack, not one seed came up. Not very happy. So the Zabrun shallots, those will be. Were they old seed, Tony, or relatively new packet of seeds? Jazz's Verbena boreensis refused to show, but veg-wise, just a couple of tomatoes that didn't. Mike had a problem with his Cosmos seeds, only 3 out of 50 germinated. Seed onions have had poor germination for Nigel, despite 3 or 4 batches. Serenity Meadow Permaculture, welcome to the chat, thank you. Monty's here, My Family Garden, thank you for coming along, Monty. Mike's asking questions about comfrey plants. How many plants does he need to create comfrey feed for a large polytunnel? Joyce is talking about the coffee grounds. Slugs don't like coffee grounds, so you could use them for that, or on a compost heap for speeding the process. Jazz is answering Mike's question and reckons about a metre square of comfrey would be enough for his polytunnel to create some food for his polytunnel. Steve says, as you know, he does spuds in buckets, but with this new plot he'd like to try no-dig spuds in the ground. Frank reckons at most 3 plants it makes really, was it 3 plants? Three, it makes concentrated feed that need to be diluted about 10:1. Tony is mentioning that you need to have a variety called Bocking 14, which doesn't spread, because yeah, that is definitely a problem. I had a comfrey plant. Somebody gave me a comfrey plant which I planted in my herb bed, and it really nearly swamped my whole herb bed, and it took me ages and ages to dig out every little bit of the comfrey root, and it took in fact several years to get rid of it. Joyce has peppers that didn't grow well, didn't germinate well. Amanda says she spreads coffee grounds on the bed and sweet corn loves it. Monty does no-dig spuds in wood chip. So that's the answer to Steve's question. Trying to grow potatoes sort of near the surface. Blocking 14 is sterile and only way is to produce it by root division, says Tony. Conversation shared says he puts comfrey in a bathtub, not your normal bath. I'm assuming you're sort of like a one outside. Jazz has two varieties of comfrey, not sure what they are. One is short with white flowers and one with big with purple. Never spread, but the bees love them. Nigel uses coffee grounds in worm bins as part of the feed. Monty got really large potatoes using his method. Serenity Meadow Permaculture, you've been up potting up tomatoes and starting new seed. Yeah, you definitely don't bathe in it, conversation chef. Wobbly Bob is here, welcome, thank you for joining the live chat. Yeah, Jazz said she used a poultice on her shoulder. She smelled grim, but it worked. Steve used his coffee grounds everywhere, and be careful if they go mouldy if too thickly applied as a surface dressing. Where we are is asking if anybody's using cardboard in their compost. Nigel, it's been very wet for months. Do we think we'll get hammered with slugs this season? It's not been cold enough to kill them all off, I think, Nigel. I think that's part of the problem. There'll be loads of slug eggs. Sam is saying that comfrey spreads like wildfire. Yeah, it can do it, as you say, if you don't use the right variety, as Tony mentioned. Conversation Shed puts cardboard once a month in their compost bin. So does Frank. Joyce agrees that there will be slugs everywhere. Where we are has already seen slugs. Monty uses cereal boxes in his compost. Chickens deal with slug eggs. Yeah, I suppose if you've got chickens on your ground, then that would help reduce the amount of slugs. Guess not everybody's got chickens, so that's a problem. Yep. Tony says slugs will be a problem just in time for his videos to do well. Yeah, Tony's got some really good videos on slugs and creating some organic slug killing methods using it to create nematodes. So check out Tony's videos on slugs. Steve reckons it was cold enough last night to kill a few slugs. We had a little bit of frost here, but it wasn't really cold. Yeah, where we are saying that I better get some chickens. Jazz is thinking of planning all sorts of copper barriers and isn't willing to use her beer on beer traps. Shaz has horseradish. The chat is moving very quickly, so apologies. Mike, that's fine. You've got to go. No problem. Thank you for joining us. Good that you were able to come along. Right. Dean is back. His grandkids have come over. Thank you for coming back, Dean. Sam would like to get his full plot ready, but the lady that's on it won't let up the orchard part, and you want it. We need about -5 for a week or so to make a difference for the slugs and the ground, for not to thaw too much in the day. That's fine, Dean, you can watch it back. Yeah, that'd be great. We'll move back on to no dig if we can, since tonight's chat is based on no dig. So my next question for you all is, what crops do you think grow best in no dig beds? What are no dig beds good for? Potatoes. So potatoes are apologies, I'm just going to have to do a my phone just suddenly said it was low battery. There were a few people that suddenly joined in there. I think I saw Owen the Welsh Gardener. Thank you for coming along. And Rue's Life. Welcome, Rue. Your onions and leeks have been fabulous in no dig beds. Small Garden Escape, Mark, welcome. Thank you for coming along. So I probably missed a few of the comments there. Joy says everything except root vegetables do well in no dig. Rue's onions were the best she'd ever had in no dig. I'm just trying to think what's grown well for me. I found pumpkins and squashes did well in a no dig bed. They seem to get down relatively well into the soil. Definitely, you're right. I didn't find. I did try some root vegetables in my no dig bed, but I think I put too much manure in that bed, so I don't think it had done well. Owen, the Welsh Gardener, this is his first year of no dig, so it's a big experiment for him. So yeah, I think the first year I did no dig, I didn't quite know what to put in the beds. So yeah, any advice for Owen as to the things that he could grow well in his no dig bed? Steve says that tall crops like sweet corn can suffer as the root support is not as good, so he supports his. Sam's little gem lettuce grew well in no dig. And Conversation Shed had good brassicas. Sophia Derwin, welcome. Thank you for coming along. Last year, Owen found Tom Thumb lettuce were really good, even though it was dug. Tony says everything grows well in no dig. Right, okay. Thank you, Jazz. Thanks for coming along. Have a good evening. Conversation Shed uses alpaca manure. Miles, welcome. And he reckons nothing will grow as well as double digging. Ray's pleased with no dig. Serenity Meadow Permaculture, with the sheer number of plants that you'll be doing, I will have no dig and conventional till mixed methods. Yeah, okay. Right, Ray's asking what is alpaca manure good for. He's got 3 bags of it. Tony's Gardens and Gizmos, welcome Tony, thank you for coming along. Don't know, apologies, it's fine. Thank you for joining us this evening. Conversation Shared says that alpaca manure doesn't burn the roots and can be planted into straight away. Tony is talking about the reason soil life is increased is the mycorrhizals help plants spread root systems and take up better nutrients. On top of that, it builds up the immune system of the plants. Conversation Shed uses it mainly as a top dressing and in the bottom of trenches. So my next question on the in this no dig chat is once you've got your no dig beds up and running and it's now the 2nd year, what do you then add to your no dig bed as a mulch? What's the best thing you can use as a mulch? So I'd like some views on that really as to topping up your no dig beds, I guess. Right, so Monty says that wood chip mulch is amazing for building up soil fungi. Tony reckons 4 inches of compost if you have it. And Conversation Shed uses cardboard, leaf mould, alpaca manure in that order. Steve says old compost from pots, etc. And Tony top dresses with municipal compost, but you do have rather a lot of it. Owen the Welsh gardener uses well rotted wood chip from a path last year to top up his beds for a head start this year. That's a good idea, Owen. So that's sort of already rotted down, and therefore we'll be adding nutrients to the soil. Dean suggests more compost and leaf mould. Frank has used a product called Strulch, which doesn't blow away and rots down eventually, but he has access to spent hops from a microbrewery. Lynn reckons more compost. Welsh Gardener says that Hugh told him that municipal compost is good. Joyce has compost. We have a compost day over here, so you'll hopefully get plenty in your smart car. Well done. Yeah, Tony is saying only if the municipal compost doesn't have plastic in it. Sue tops hers at the end of the season with well rotted horse manure, then covers for the winter with then spent potato compost in the spring. Hello Backyard Gardening, welcome, thank you for coming along. And Gone Potty Gardening, Jackie, welcome to you. Compost. If the paths are wood chip, right, my phone is saying still low battery. Why is that? I have it plugged in. It's a bit of a worry. Apologies while I just fiddle. Maybe I didn't push it in enough. Right, sorry, I'm back. I'm hoping that that's not going to. If the chat suddenly ends, I've run out of battery, but hopefully it hasn't. Right. That's okay, Owen. You have to go, no problem. Thank you for coming along this evening. Paths are part of the growing root area, permaculture. So, oh, I see, sorry, yeah, paths are part of the growing roots area. The next question I'd like to add is about crop rotation. So, who rotates the crops onto different beds each year, and who prefers to grow things in the same beds each year, and what are the pitfalls of doing that, or the benefits of it? Tony's municipal compost comes from a private waste manager. Mark Shaw is here. Welcome. Thank you for coming along, Mark. If I missed anybody in a couple of minutes ago and I didn't say hello to you, if you say hello to me now, I will try and catch up with you. Conversation Shed tries to do crop rotation, but you suck at it. You say you're not so good at it. Monty still thinks that crop rotation is very important. So does Sam. Miles reckons everything needs to be rotated except onions and French beans. Steve doesn't willingly follow crop rotation. If a plant needs to go in, it does, no matter what was in the bed before. Joyce does crop rotation every year, just like you would with a dig garden. Eleanor, thank you very much for coming along. Yeah, that's good. Tony disagrees with regard to crop rotation. Would you like to say why you think that you prefer not to crop rotate? I guess, Tony, that'd be useful. Tony's garden and gizmos, because I use most beds for 2 or 3 crops a season, I don't worry too much, but I try and avoid brassicas and alliums in the same bed. What is it about brassicas and alliums in the same bed, Tony's gardens and gizmos? Is there a reason behind that? Be interesting to discuss that point. Ray rotates over 3 years. I must admit, I've sort of rotated stuff around, but I don't do it in any sort of planned manner, really. I tend to just think, oh, what have I had in that bed last year? I'll put something different in it, but I don't actually sort of plan and think, oh, this thing should go in after that thing. Mark Shaw is first year and he's trying no dig. Club root for brassicas and white rot for alliums. When in the bed, it's impossible to eradicate. Alliums okay in the same bed. I think Robinson's onion beds are over 150 years old. Becky's Allotment's here. Welcome, Becky. You were making and eating leek and potato pie. That sounds delicious. The old gardeners always tell you that if you find somewhere for your onions, do well, keep them there. Joyce had rust on her garlic, so won't use that bed for garlic again this year. Crop rotation. Tony UK Here We Grow says crop rotation is a waste of the time most of the time. The reason is, unless you suffer with disease like allium leaf miner or rust or cabbage root fly, then those will need moving, but otherwise no. You've grown tomatoes in the same place for 7 years and never had blight. Rust is airborne. Yeah, I guess it's I think it's an old wives' tale, because they can spread blight. Oh, that's the thing about onions and brassicas. Was it? Was that the thing about onions and brassicas, or have I missed that? Abdul. Hello to you. Ray grew tomatoes in fresh compost and they did really well. Thank you, Tony. Tony UK Here We Grow. Very kind of you to come along to the live chat. Go and play Call of Duty. Oh, sorry, sunflowers and potatoes was that bit. I missed that. Ashley, Yeah, I would say it was lovely leek, onions and garlic. That pie does sound, that's making me feel really hungry, Becky. Um, Blight dies with the frost, so never been worried about tomatoes and spuds. My spuds are always in the same space, says Tony's Garden and Gizmos. Um, right, thank you, Steve, for joining the live chat. That was very kind of you to come along. And Monty, thank you for coming along too. The kids need to get to bed. That's no problem. Yeah, all round to Becky's for dinner. Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? We all turned up. Will I be hosting the annual Sunflower Challenge again, Nigel? What do you think? Yes, I will be. Probably starting it towards the end of this month. End of March was my plan, but I will. I'll put a video up when I'm ready. once I've planted my sunflower seeds, I will, and I've planned exactly what the categories will be this year. Then I'll put up a video and everybody can join in. If you want to start your sunflowers before then, that's no problem. But I'm not planning to be starting mine till the end of the month, I don't think. Oh, Becky says that her pie's all gone. Oh well. You'll have to make a bigger one next time, Becky. Yeah, airborne and rust. Yeah, it is a fungal disease, rust, I think. So it's spread by spores. Ray is potting up giants. Is that giant? What giant? Giant leeks? Giant onions? Ray? Oh, sorry, giant sunflowers, of course. Sorry, we were talking about sunflowers a minute ago, weren't we? Yeah. So you've already got your sunflowers going. That's impressive. I always think that sunflowers are a bit tender, so I'm a bit concerned about starting them off too soon. So I don't normally start them till. No, it's not beer. No, it's blackcurrant. Just a soft drink. I wouldn't drink alcohol on a live stream, just because I don't know whether I'd talk any sense at all. Back to no dig. Nigel's reining us in. Has anyone encountered any pitfalls? So what pitfalls have you had with no dig? What Sam has got to buy some more shelves for his greenhouse before he sows any more because dahlias are taking over his shelves. Ray says there are no pitfalls in his opinion. I think we did cover this a little bit earlier that there weren't loads of pitfalls, but I guess finding enough compost was one of the ones that was suggested, Nigel. Finding enough organic matter. Backyard gardening. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, conversation shed saying that Joyce can't find any pitfalls so far. I'm just trying to think if I found any pitfalls. I think it was, I guess the only thing is finding enough material. Like I had to get hold of some cardboard, which you know, you just have to find somewhere to get some cardboard, finding enough matter, um, and that those were, there weren't many pitfalls, I don't think. Um, yeah, taking a long time to expand out may not be practical for market production. Um, has anybody watched some of Charles Dowding's videos? I guess a lot of you will have done. Um, he does it at a sort of market garden type scale, and he manages to get enough organic matter to do his. So yeah, I guess it can be scaled up from not just small garden. So it probably is something that you could do. Um, Nigel enjoys digging, yeah, and that is one of the sort of things. I guess if you like digging, then no dig might not be for you. You might enjoy doing the digging, the mechanical process of it. It keeps you fit, I guess. If so, but Nigel has noticed that there's been fewer weeds with no dig. Um, Tony says the biggest pitfall for him was being borrowed to explain how to do it every time he got down to the plots, since the place was flooded and their plots with 3 inches underwater, and yours were fine. There we go. So it reduces flooding. I guess because they're raised beds, aren't they? So it increases drainage. Right. Becky's trying some no dig beds for the first time this year. Ray hates digging, hence he's still having potatoes in the ground from last year, I'm assuming. Thank you, Serenity Meadow Permaculture, that's very kind of you. Goodbye to you. Miles says you could never get enough manure and compost. Beds dried out in the summer, a lot smaller crops than double digging. Digging is healthier. Yeah, that's perfectly valid, and I understand that some people definitely prefer to dig. So it's not for everybody, no dig, I think. It's something that a lot of people want to try, but it doesn't really. So I definitely agree with that. Mick Poltney has been doing no dig for 25 years. His raised beds are 4 foot high and the soil is the best that Nigel's ever seen. Becky would like to reduce the stress by digging. When you want to punch someone, you go to the allotment and say, I see what you mean, Becky. Yeah, I can understand that one. Ray is at the end of his plot and all the water runs down to his plot, so he has raised beds. Sam says that Mick Poltney knows his stuff. Hello, J-Max. If the timber costs raised bed is expensive, try speaking to a local landscaping company. This time of the year they're doing lots of decking replacement. It costs them money to get rid of. Yeah, so that's definitely a way of getting hold of some. Just move him. And Joyce has no dig and raised beds because of health issues. Otherwise, you wouldn't have your garden anymore. Right, I'm going to need some help because we've got a troll in the house. So, may have more than one of them now. Yeah, so we'll do your best for me and watch out for those comments. Yeah, so yeah, raised beds are good to help with regard to drainage. That is definitely one of the things. Becky, I will right. Yeah, thank you for the help. If we continue to get too many, then we'll obviously finish. But so we've talked about the benefits of no dig. We talked about what crops are best. Yeah, Sam, that's the problem. So what else would anybody like to what else would anybody like to discuss about no dig? Now the chat is not moving for me. Joyce says, don't use pallet wood for building raised beds. Sue says, as a beginner, you find it easy, especially you can work 6 days a week in the summer. Sophia says, you would use you use compost out of your pots. Would that be okay for a bottom layer? Yeah, definitely would. Yeah, Tony, I will give you the permission. We'll just have a few of you. Nigel's had 6 years from using scaffold planks untreated, but they're starting to rot now. I've used, you know, the boards that were that are decking boards. They seem to last relatively well because they've got sort of they're pressure treated, aren't they? So the edges of my beds are covered with the edge. I use the planks from decking, and they always seem to do well. Miles is saying that you could use bricks. Conversation shared is not, you're not allowed to use bricks on his site. Sam says when his beds rot, you're looking at building brick beds. Ray says he's not allowed to use bricks, if that sounds odd. No, I mean you're not allowed to use bricks. Mark, you're planning doing your garden thinking of bricks or planks. Nigel has acquired 140 used pavers and may use them on the edge to construct new raised beds. Tony has decking planks, beds for 5 years across 2 plots. Miles, go ahead, ask your question. Oh, they're saying they would think people would start building walls. You're a plot steward, Sam, on your site, so you can get away with things. Miles is asking about the wet wood law that's coming in soon. I've heard something about that. Is that to do with coal and wood, and having to only use it that you can't buy bagged coal and wood that's too wet? I think it's something to do with pollution control from memory. I did read something about it. But yeah, aren't they planning to do something where they're not going to deliver coal and I think it's to do with buying it. It does sound bizarre. Nigel's not heard of it. Miles is saying apparently soon we won't be allowed to have fires up at the allotment. So yeah, you can't burn. I thought it was more sort of like, you know, wood stoves and coal fires. It was more to do with that. Thank you, Mark. That's no problem. I will be ending the chat in approximately about 5 minutes. We'll be been going for about an hour and a half then, so about 9:30, just to let everybody know. Yeah, it's green wood. Yeah, I think you're okay if the wood, from what I'd read, if the wood was kiln dried, if that means something to anybody. Yeah, some allotments don't allow fires. Sue says you can burn seasoned kiln drying logs and won't be able to buy coal from supermarkets, garages, etc. from the coal man. Wet wood, the coal part has to be clean coal. Kiln drying wood is circa 8% moisture and green or wet wood is 40%. It leads to incomplete combustion. It's how you get creosote built up in chimneys, and it's not good for flues. So Tony knows quite a bit about this. So that's useful information, Tony. Joyce says that there are no fires allowed at her allotments, and Conversation says we aren't allowed fires, but you still have one on bonfire night. Nigel says he can have fires between September and March, but Sam says you can have fire, but you on a consideration basis. Little Farmers Farm, Tony's here. Welcome, Tony. We're getting towards the end of the chat, Tony. Just apologies. I'm going to finish at just about past. Been going for an hour and a half, so I'm running out of steam now, and it's been a busy week for me this week. But great that you were able to join at the end of the chat. Ray says we have dates of when you're allowed to have fires. Tony's in a clean air zone, so the rules have been in his area for years. Becky says we're allowed fires anytime, but very few people do. Yeah, so there is some. So I think people maybe if they want to do a little bit of research on these new rules to do with kiln dried wood and coal. But I'm hoping that that's helped Miles a little bit. Ray's asking, are there any jobs to do on the allotment this weekend? Oh, there's loads of things to do on my allotment, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get much of them done. Maybe a little bit of time on Sunday. Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much. Conversation Shed is going to have a live tomorrow, so all welcome. You get Nigel saying the water is going to be turned on at the end of the month. Thank you, Ashley. I'm going to end the chat now. No, that's no problem, Little Farmers Farm, Tony. Thank you for popping along at the end of the chat. You could always watch it back and see what was discussed with regard to no dig. I'm going to spend a little bit of time, hopefully, on my allotment on Sunday, and I'd like to say thank you to you all for joining me on this live chat, and thank you for everybody that moderated and helped with the nasty people this evening, and I'll see you all again next time. Thank you, everybody. Take care.